4 living former Australian Prime Ministers besides Paul Keating have signed a statement condemning Hamas. Let's bring in the former Labor Senator Stephen Conroy. Stephen, good to see you. It even brought Turnbull and Abbott together, but not Keating.
It's brought Rudd and Gillard together and Turnbull and Abbott. I mean, for the last 15 years, that's a pretty big unity ticket. So,
are you disappointed then that Keating's been, I think, consistent on this issue for a long time now, but could an exception have been made this time around?
Well, look, you've got a whole range of international circumstances at the moment. It isn't just, unfortunately, the Middle East, it's like the Ukraine conflict. So, I mean, people are free to choose what they'd like to comment on or sign publicly. I've got no criticism of Paul for that at all. But I think it's a powerful statement. I think it's a well-meaning statement. It puts context around a lot of the public debate. And I think it was worthwhile, and congratulations to all of those former Prime Ministers who have signed it.
What it does, though, it feeds into the narrative that Labor is divided on the Israel-Palestine issue. Do you agree?
No, look, I think there's attempts to describe it that way. But, I mean, Albo was asked a couple of days ago in Washington, which side are you on? He said, I'm not on Hamas's side. I mean, the Prime Minister of Australia is making it very clear. Penny Wong is also telling truth to friends. You just have to play this forward a few weeks. If the full ground offensive gets underway, the casualties are going up. It's not like we haven't seen this movie before. And I don't mean that in any belittling way. The Israelis have taken control of Gaza previously. It didn't work out well. So what we're experiencing now, history can teach us some lessons. And what we know is that if there are tens of thousands of civilian casualties in Gaza, the pressure will be on Israel. They've got to be very clear. I think, the President of the United States said, don't make the same mistakes that we made over Afghanistan and Iraq. And I think they're very wise words. We all want to see an end to the murderous regime and the leadership of Hamas. But if you look at how long it took the might of the US to track down bin Laden. So if removing Hamas is the objective and the leadership of Hamas, then state that clearly. But my concern is that, I think Penny's right to say to our friends that they will, it's just a statement of fact, they will be under enormous pressure if there are massive civilian passages.
How much is massive, though? It's true what you're saying, and no one wants any civilians to die, but they do get caught up in this in war, particularly as it's been well noted that Hamas uses civilians.
Correct.
Hamas uses civilians,
human shields.
But when you talk about a civilian death toll, though, and everyone urges caution, but how much is too high? Is there a number? Is there a percentage on all of this?
No, I don't think you can be that definitive. What Israel have already said they will do is attempt to limit civilian casualties. But when Hamas fire rockets from behind schools and from behind hospitals and build their command and control centre underneath one of the main hospitals, you know that they are deliberately willing to sacrifice innocent lives to advance their agenda. And you just have to be careful and cognizant. I mean, Netanyahu wants to talk as tough as he can now because this happened on his watch. And what you had in the background was Saudi Arabia wanting to reach an accord similar to the other Gulf states. And the one country in the world that really didn't want that was Iran.
Yeah,
so Iran are right behind this. And there should be no doubt that they've armed and they've authorised, and they've got Hezbollah sitting in the north deciding whether or not to play that card. What Iran are scared of is being isolated. Saudi Arabia are on the verge of isolating Iran. And Netanyahu has to make a decision whether he's prepared to risk all of that, reduce Israel to a small number of friends in the West, or Netanyahu wants to actually protect the Israeli people and build a sustainable homeland for them. They have every right to defend themselves, every right to defend themselves at this barbaric action by Hamas, and to hunt them down and to deal with that leadership. But at some point, they also have to understand that they live in a broader world, and that the sort of video coverage that you get in today is not like in 1970, 48 or 73. The video coverage is going to influence public opinion around the world. I know they're conscious of that, but they need to listen to their friends who want to help and support them.
Stephen, we're out of time, but good to see you as always.